Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to our lunch and learn session. A very warm welcome to all of you today. So, my name is Nafis from Excel Academy. Today we have Miss Adila, and she will be sharing about summarize your data in Excel. So, if you guys have any question regarding this topic, do leave your message in the comment section, and Miss Adila will answer them right after his presentation. So, all right, let's not wait anymore. Now I pass this floor to Miss Adila.
All right, thank you so much, Nafis. Okay, so a very warm welcome to everyone and good afternoon. And also, I would like to welcome you to the lunch and learn session. And for today, the topic is summarize your data in Excel. All right. So here, before I start, all right, let me just share a blank Excel worksheet because I would like to go through some main key points I would like to share so that it will be easier for all of us to maneuver the Excel together. Okay. So allow me to open the Excel spreadsheet and then I will share my screenshot. All right, so I hope you can see my screen here, all right, with the blank Excel worksheet. So before we start, just several key points, all right, to ensure that everyone is in the right page. So I would like to share with you what is tab, ribbon, column, row, and also cell. So these are the main 5 key points, all right, that I would like to share before we go on any further in today's session. So for the first one, which is tab, all right, so the area that I referred to as tab is if you open your Excel worksheet, okay, and then you can see at the top part, we have file, home, insert, page layout, and so on. So that main title, I will refer it as tab. So later on, when we want to go through some of the functions in Excel that is available for us to summarize our data, for an example, I say, okay, it's in home tab, then you would know where am I exactly at the moment, right? So that this is to ensure that nobody gets lost along the way. So that is tab. And then for the second one, which is ribbon. So if I click on the home tab, under home tab, you can see there's undo, clipboard, font, alignment, etc. So all of these, I refer it as ribbon, okay? So if let's say I told everyone that, okay, now let's go to home tab, clipboard, ribbon, then you would know where we're at the moment, okay? So first is tab, the main title. Ribbon is the subtopic under the tab. Next is column. So I think everyone would know what this is. So column is the vertical cell here, all right, from column A to the last column. And then row is the horizontal one with the number of 1 until the last number. And then for cell, for example here, I fill in yellow inside this cell. This cell is called as C3. Okay, so we start off with the column and then row. So C3, this is cell C3. Okay, so that's just a little bit of example of the key point that I would like to cover first. All right. So now for the first function or formula of the day when it comes to summarizing your data in Excel, this is what I call as conditional formatting. All right, so let me open the file and let me share with all of you on how we can apply conditional formatting in summarizing our data. All right, so this is the file here. So you would see here there's an Excel file, all right, called Conditional Formatting Accountancy Exam. And under row 1, you can see the big title here that states Accountancy Part 1 Exam Results. And we have data from column A until column D. Column A is the candidate ID, column B is the area, column C is the gender, column D is the age of those candidate who partake with the exam, right? The accountancy exam. Now, these are all the data under from column A until column D. Now, if you follow me and if we scroll further down, under row 28, all right, we have each of the column, we have its own condition that we need to fulfill. For an example, under column A here, you can see we want to identify candidate ID number, which is less than 300,000. For column B, we want to identify southern candidate. For column C, we want to identify female candidate. And for column D, we want to identify candidate age, which is more or greater than 40 years old. Okay, so these are all of the condition that is set upon each column. Now, the next question is, where can I find conditional formatting inside Microsoft Excel? So conditional formatting is in Home tab. All right, so you can go to Home tab and you can go to the Styles ribbon, and then here you can see there's conditional formatting. If you click on conditional formatting here, first we have highlight cell rule. Okay, so these are all of the basic features that are available in conditional formatting. Example, if you want to identify any number which is greater than, less than, between, equal to, all right? And then the fifth one, this is special. This is text that contains. So for an example, if your data is in the form of text, alphabet, sentences, and not in the form of number, then you need to use this one, the fifth one, which is text that contains. So inside this data, example of column that we can use text that contains are actually column B and column C, because if you can see the data in column B and also column C for area and gender are all in text and no numbers, right? So if that's the case, we will be using text that contains. Other than that, we have a date occurring and also duplicate values. So if you want to find any data that appear more than once, all right, you can click on duplicate values here. And that is under highlight cell rule category. Next, if you go to top or bottom category, you can see there are six, all right? But in general, I would divide it into three, okay? So first, you can identify top or bottom 10 items. So for an example, if let's say I owned a speed mart, right? A simple convenience store, all right, where I sell a lots of product. So here on a month-to-month basis or on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, I can actually identify which among all of the item that I sell, all right, is the top 10 items or the bottom 10 items. So I can determine my best seller and I would say those who did not perform. Okay, so that is the first one, top or bottom 10 item. Second is the top or bottom 10%. Okay, and finally we have the above or below average. So if let's say you have the average number and you want to see if your data is the above or below average there, you can actually just click on the above or below average. Okay, so that is the second category, which is top or bottom rows. Now for the next three items, which are data bus, color scales, and icon set, this is what I call as helping us visual management. Why? Because when we apply data bus, color scales, or even icon sets, all right, when we look at our data immediately, it helps us visually to recognize certain pattern easily, all right? So for data bus, you can see here we have two different field, all right, which is first the gradient field, second is the solid field. So it's the same, both provide field, it's just that the appearance of the field is different. For gradient field, if you apply gradient field, the color is from darker color to lighter color. So later on, we will have a look at one of the example. Second, for solid field, it's darker color throughout the field for the data bus. Okay, so that is the difference between gradient and also solid field. Second visual management is color skills. All right, so color skills, let's say you have a set of data. So if I click on the first one here, you can see it's green, yellow, and red color scale. So therefore, for higher number, it will appear in green. All right, mid-range number will appear in yellow, and low number will appear in red. So that is the function of color scale. You can see how the scale of color changes depends on the value that you have inside your data. And finally, we have icon set. So icon set, you have sample here, directional, shapes, indicator, and also ratings. So it's up to you which icon set that you would want to use. All right, in the end of the day, it provides the same outcome. All right, icon set is for you to identify if your data is, if it's red color, for example here, you can see shapes in red, yellow, and also green. So if it's in red color, meaning the data is below average. If it's in yellow color, meaning it's at par, or within the range of the average. And if your data is in green color, meaning it's definitely above the average. Okay, so that is the indicator that we can see if we apply eye concept. Because eye concept, you only have three colors, so that is the meaning for each of the colors. Red below average, yellow at par or within the range of the average, and green is definitely above average. Okay, so that is data bus, color skills, and also icon set. Now, when you apply conditional formatting, for an example here, all right, so let's say we apply here, this is greater than 40 years old. So I'll show you shortly later, but let's just give this a try, all right, because I want to show you how we can clear the conditional formatting. So if you apply conditional formatting, there will be certain color of filling on your data, right? So if you want to clear those conditional formatting, you must not simply highlight and click delete. If you do that, your data, everything will be deleted, okay? So if you want to remove the field, again, first, you cannot highlight and delete. Second, you cannot highlight and go to the fill color and choose no fill. It won't give you any impact, okay? So if you want to clear it, you have to clear it properly. After you highlight, you need to go back to conditional formatting. And then second last here, you can see at the bottom part, we have clear rules, okay? And then under clear rules, we have two options, either to clear rules from selected cell, all right, or clear rules from entire sheet. So for an example earlier, I've only highlighted column D, right? So if that's the case, I will actually click on clear rules from selected cell, which is the cell that I've already selected or highlighted, okay? But for example, let's say you want to clear rules from the entire worksheet, that's fine. Okay, you can just click on clear rules from entire sheet. Okay, so that is how you want to clear rules or remove all of this red color or the indicator that you've applied based on the conditional formatting earlier. Okay, so let me remove it here. Highlight, okay, conditional formatting, clear rules from selected cell, right? So now everything is back to normal. So now let's try and fulfill the condition in each of the column, all right? This is located under row 28. So first we want to identify candidate ID number, which is less than 300,000. So here, first step, I would just highlight all relevant data from cell A4, all right, until cell A26, all right, the last one with data. Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, click on Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rule, and then click on less than. After you click on less than, you need to input the limit here, all right, the limit is 300,000, and then click on OK. So here we can see there are several candidate ID which is less than 300,000. Example here, row 8, right? You can see it's 234242. Row 9, all right? Row 11, row 19, that's it, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candidate ID number which is less than 300,000. Okay, so that is for the first one, less than. Second, we want to identify southern candidate, be it southwest or southeast, both is considered as southern candidate. So here, let's try and locate, all right? Let's try and identify which of the following are southern candidate. So here, the same method apply. First step is to highlight relevant data. So in this case, it's cell B4 until B26, right? Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, click on Conditional Formatting, and then go to highlight cell rule. Remember highlight cell rule, the fifth one, we have text that contains, okay, so this applies for data which is in the form of text or sentences or alphabets, okay. So click on text that contains. Under the limit here, input the word south, and then you can click on OK. So here, if you can see, every single southern candidate, be it southwest or southeast, all right, has already been highlighted and also identified by Microsoft Excel. Okay. Next one, for column C, we want to identify female candidate. So again, we can use text that contains because the data is in the form of text. So M represents male, F represents female. So here, let's apply the first step, highlight all relevant data. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, text that contains, and then you input the letter F because F represents female, and then click on OK. Right, so here you have identified female candidates. And then finally for column D, we want to identify candidate age, which is greater than 40 years old or more than 40 years old. So again, here the first step, highlight relevant data, which is cell D4 until D26. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and then this one you can choose greater than, all right, because you want more than 40 years old. And then under the limit, ensure you input number 40 here and then click on OK. Right, so here we have 1, 2, 3% which is age more than 40 years old. Okay, so that is how you want to identify conditional formatting. And conditional formatting is all about spotting the trend or pattern easily, all right, using all of the features that are available in conditional formatting. Okay, so this is for the first part, accountancy part 1, exam result. Okay, so we are using everything is from the highlight cell rule category here. So that is it for the accountancy exam file. The next file that I will be sharing, we will be covering top or bottom rule, data bus, and also icon set. Okay, so here allow me to stop share here first, and then I will share the next exercise that we can perform for conditional formatting that covers top or bottom rules, data bus, and also icon set. Right, so let me open the file first and let me share my screen. Okay, so I hope you are able to see the data that I'm showing on the screen right now. So here we have the file of conditional formatting, PESCO part-time pay, right? So this is a data about a shop called PESCO, okay? And here is the table in relation to its part-time workers, all right, on a weekly basis, okay? So here we have data from column B to column J, all right? So column B is the staff ID, column C is the surname, column D is the initial, column E is the number of hours that they work at PESCO on a weekly basis, column F is the payment that they are entitled to, column G is the insurance, column H is the tax, column I is the pension, and then column J is the final pay. Okay, so if you ask me, Adila, how do I get the final pay? All right, the final pay is actually coming from the pay here under column F. You deduct the insurance, you deduct the tax, you deduct the pension, then this is the final pay that has been received, okay, for this particular stuff, right? So here we have all of the conditional formatting already. So allow me to clear first and then let's do it together. So clear rules. Okay, so now it's nice, white, okay, and cleared. So if you want to see the requirement, it's under row 18. Okay, so for column B, we want to identify females. In column C, we want to identify name with letter I. Okay, column D is letter H. For column E, this is a little bit tricky, all right? So we want to identify greater than or equal to 18. For column F, we want to identify top 10%. For column G, it's above average. For column H is data bus. And for column I, it's actually a mixture of two conditional formatting, which is first, we want to highlight greater than 4.5. And second, we want to also include data bus. Okay, so for your information, we can apply several conditional formatting under one column, all right? And you don't need to particularly follow it in order, whereby first you must highlight only then data bar, all right? It applies both way because it provides the same result. So if you want to do data bar first, followed by highlight, also can, no problem, okay? So that is in column I, mixed English and also data bus, okay? For column J, we want to apply icon set here. So later on, we'll have a look at this as well. So let's start and perform conditional formatting for this particular file. For column B, the requirement is we want to identify female candidate. So again, F represents female, M represents male. So here I highlight all relevant data from cell B4 until B15, right? Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and also text that contains, okay, because female is represented by F, so you can put there text that contains, and then you input the limit, which is letter F in the box here. Okay, when you click OK, all of the female staff has been identified, and there are actually 5 female staff inside PESCO. So column B is done. All right, so next one is column C. So column C, we want to identify names with the letter I. So we have Abbott, Arlington, Brown, Davis, Fox, Kelsey, Marsh, Oliver, Potts, and also Taylor. Okay, so these are the surname. So if I want to identify name that contain letter I can do so as well. Just highlight relevant data, which is cell C4 until C15. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, text that contains, all right, and don't remember to input the letter I, right, because that is the condition or requirement. So when you click on letter I, we have Arlington, all right, Davis, and also Oliver. So we have 5 names in surname with the letter I inside their names. So that is for column C. Next, for column D, we want to identify initial with the letter H. Okay, so here I highlight cell D4 until D15. Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and also this one we should apply text that contains. And then here you can input the letter H in, and then just click on OK. Right, so we have one, sorry, so we have 1, 2, 3 stuff with the letter H inside their initial, right? So the next one is for column E. So here, if you look at conditional formatting highlight cell rule, yes, we have greater than, yes, we have also equal to, but how do we combine in column E, which are greater than or equal to 18, all right? So there are 2 ways we can do this. So first, let's highlight the data. So the first part is, okay, one of the method that you can use is actually just use highlight cell rules, okay? And then here under highlight cell rule, just choose greater than, all right? However, the limit, you cannot put 18 because if you put 18, Excel will only start to consider 19 and above. So if you want to include number 18 as well, you need to put the limit further less by 1 number, which is number 17. All right. So if you put inside the limit as number 17, then Excel will actually identify greater than 17, which is starting off with the number 18. All right. So that is for greater than or equal to 18. So after you click OK, you can see 18 is also included. Right. So this is for column E. Another method that I would like to share is more precise, all right, which is I would say it's spot on, all right, for us to identify greater than or equal to 18. So here allow me to clear the rules here first because I would like to redo it by using the exact formula or features of greater than or equal to. So here clear rules from selected cell, right? So highlight relevant data from cell E4 until E15, okay? Go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and then click on more rules, okay? When you click on more rules at the bottom here, click on the drop-down arrow. So currently it's stating as greater than, all right? But you can actually choose here greater than or equal to, all right? Which is exactly what we want, greater than or equal to. And the next part, all right, to the right of the box, you can input the limit, which is number 18, okay? But if you see the preview, there is no format set yet. So please don't click on OK first, all right? So let's apply some format for greater than or equal to 18. So here on the right side, I will click on format dot, okay? Straight away, I go to fill, and then I'm choosing one of the colors here, the red color. and then you can click on OK. So you can see the preview now changes, right? If you have any cell or data inside, you can actually, it will be colored in red. So now after you have select the field earlier in format, you can just click on OK. So here, if you can see, number 18 is included as well for greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so two method. First, you are using the greater than, but the limit must be one number below, okay, one number down. Second, you use exactly the correct feature, which is greater than or equal to 18, where you can find it under conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, more rules, okay, and then at the center here, change it to greater than or equal to, all right? So that is for column E, okay, where we want to identify greater than or equal to 18. Next one is column F. Okay, so we want to identify top 10%. So you can highlight cell F4 until F15, go to conditional formatting, top or bottom rule. So now we are looking at top or bottom rule, and then just click on top 10%. Right, so here they have identified the top 10%. All right, so that is for column F. For column G, above average, so again, highlight cell G4 until G15, conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and then you can click on top or bottom rules, and then click on above average. So if you can see, those which are highlighted, those which are highlighted are definitely above the average that they are supposed to pay, all right, when it comes to insurance under column G. Next, for column H, we want to apply data bus. Okay, so let me show you an example of solid fill and also gradient fill. So first, let's have a look at gradient fill. How does it look like? So after you have highlighted relevant data, right, you can go back to conditional formatting, data bus. Okay, let's say I applied blue for gradient fill. So if you can see here, it started off with a darker color and it gets lighter. Okay, so that is for gradient fill. And then now if I clear rows, right, let's try and do for solid fill. So for solid fill, just go to data bus, click on solid fill. So if you can see, this is the difference, all right, between solid and gradient. Gradient earlier, it was from darker color to lighter color, but for this one particularly, which is solid, you can see the color is dark throughout the data bus. Okay. Another thing why I mentioned it is visual. If you can see here, the longest data bar, which is 4540, we know straight away this has the highest amount, all right? The value is the highest. And if you can see, the lowest amount here is under row, sorry, is under row 10 and also row 15, which the text is only 2369. Why? Because the data bar is the shortest. So that is how you can identify based on the data bars inside your data that you have. Okay. Next one is column I for pension. So for column I, we want to do a mixture. All right, we want to do highlight greater than 4.5, and also we want to perform the data bus inside column I. Okay, so there's two here. So you can start off with any of it, doesn't matter. You can start with data bus, only then do greater than 4.5, or you can do the greater than 4.5 first, followed by data bar. Okay, so here let's try and perform greater than 4.5 first. So here I'm highlighting the relevant data, all right, from cell I4 until I15. Okay, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, greater than, and then you can input 4.5 here, which is the limit. And then next, let's apply data bus. Okay, so data bus, I'm applying the red data bar here in solid. So from here, you can see the person that paid the highest pension is here in row 6, and the person who paid the least pension is actually under row 10, 450, and also row 15, which paid 4.5 as well. Okay, so that is for column I. And then finally for column J, let's perform the icon set. So highlight relevant data, go to conditional formatting, icon set, and then you can choose whichever icon that you want. Okay, so here I'll try and use the traffic light system, traffic light recommended. All right, so here if you can see, there are three different colors. We have yellow, green, and also red. So for red, that is definitely below the average. For yellow color, it's at par or within the range of the average. And for green, all right, that is definitely above your average. Okay, so that is the indicator that you can find under icon set, right? So with that, we cover a little bit of everything, all right, from conditional formatting. We cover highlight cell rule category, we cover top or bottom rule as well, and we also touch on data bus and also icon set. Okay, so I hope you can understand what is conditional formatting all about, right? And then hopefully you can also apply it either at your workplace or in your daily lives. Okay, so we are done with conditional formatting. Next function that I would like to share is called group ungroup subtotal. Okay, so let me open a file so we can use the data there. Right, give me a moment. Right, so I have a sample here. Let me share my screen again. Right? So by right, you would see an Excel file, which is called group ungroup t-shirt size. Okay, so this is how the file of group ungroup t-shirt size looks like. So we have data from column A until column E. So column A, we have the home room. Column B, we have the first name. Column C, we have the last name. Column D is the payment method. And column E, we have the t-shirt size. So here we can see sort of the requirement that we can do under column G, right? Whereby column G is showing here. We want to create group ungroup by t-shirt size. So t-shirt size is under column E, right? And then for number 2, we want to perform group ungroup by payment method, all right? So payment method is under column D. So for group ungroup subtotal, where can you find the function? All right, you can go to data tab, right? The last part, all right, is outline ribbon, and at the outline ribbon you can see there's group, ungroup, and also subtotal. So this is exactly where you can find the group ungroup subtotal. I repeat again, it's under data tab, outline ribbon. Okay, so that is where it is located. Now, before I show you how to perform group ungroup subtotal, let's list down some of the step-by-step that is required to be done by us. Okay, so the first one, we need to identify, all right, we need to identify which column that we would like to group together, identify which column to group together, all right, so that is for the first one. For the second step, all right, once we identify which column that we want to group together, second, we need to sort the chosen column. So you have decide which one. Second, you need to sort. Okay. Third, you need to highlight all relevant data. And then what you must do, you need to click on subtotal. And the fourth one, this is when you need to update a part which is called at each change in. Okay, so these are the steps that you need to follow through when you want to perform group ungroup subtotal. So first we need to identify which column that we would like to group together. Second, we need to identify which column that we would like to group together. Name, last name, t-shirt size, and then up here under row 2 and row 3, the requirement is clear. We want to perform group ungroup by t-shirt size, so that is in column E, and group ungroup by payment method, which is under column D. So for the first step, identify which column to group together. That one is done because one we need to do for t-shirt size, and another we need to perform for payment method. So that is exactly the column that we need to group together later on. Okay. First step done. Second step, we need to sort the column. Okay. So here we are doing for, let's say here we are doing for T-shirt size. Sorry, we are doing for payment method because we are under payment method worksheet here. All right, so under payment method, you need to sort. Okay, you can sort either A to Z or Z to A, up to you. If A to Z, you will start off with the letter A, right, until letter Z. If you want to start from Z to A, you can also do that as well. So here, for simplicity purposes, I will just choose sort A to Z, right? So here, Excel has pulled it together nicely, okay, where the first one, we have all of the cash together, followed by check, okay, and then we have check bounce. We also have debit card. We also have money order, pending, and also wrong amount. Okay, so we have several payment method here. Okay, so second step is done, sort the chosen column. Now, the third step, let's highlight all relevant data. So this one, you will need to highlight everything inclusive the main title under row 1. Okay, and then go to data tab, outline ribbon, and then click on subtotal. When you click on subtotal, remember the fourth step, update at each change in. So that is the only part that you need to change. Okay, so here right now it's stating as home room. Here I want you to change it into payment method, right? After you're done changing it to payment method, just click on OK, right? So here, if you can see, Excel has helped you, whereby it has helped you to calculate how many there is. Okay, so for example, those who paid via cash, there's 7 students. Those who pay via check, there's 5. Check bounce, there's 2. Okay, debit card, there's 4. Money order, we have 5. All right, and then for pending, we have 3. Wrong amount, we have 1. And grand count, we have 27. Okay, so this is how group ungroup looks like. Instead of you have to insert another row, okay, and then create your own formula to calculate how much there is, you can actually just apply the group ungroup subtotal, and Excel will automatically provide you with all of these count numbers. Okay, so that is for the count numbers. And if you look on the left side here, okay, you can see there are small number 1, number 2, and also number 3. So what does all of this indicate? For number 1 here, they only provide you a high level of breakdown, whereby they can only see how much is the grand count. The grand count is 27. That's all. Just one piece of information that is available to everyone. If you click on number 2, it gets slightly better, all right, slightly more detailed, whereby you know how many people have paid using cash, how many have paid using check, check bounce, debit card. We also have money order, pending, wrong amount, and also finally the grand count, the grand total, right? So this is if you click on number 2. And if you click on number 3, it provides us with the detailed breakdown, right? Whereby we would have the data inclusive of home room, first name, last name, payment method, and also T-shirt size. So everything has been shown when you click on number 3 here. So number 1, high level conclusion, only grand total 27. If you click on number 2, it's slightly better, right? It shows you for each of it how much, for each of the payment method, how many students there is, okay? And then finally, if you click on the third one, this is the most detailed breakdown that they've already had, okay? So that is for number 1, 2, 3. And then at the bottom part here, you can see there's a minus sign. Okay, when you click, there's also a plus sign here. So this is what we call as expand and also collapse. So for an example, if you only want to show for debit card account, so we can just actually close everything off. All right, we are closing the cash, we are closing the check, we are closing the debit card, money order, and let's say we only want to see pending count, so we are only showing the pending count at the moment. The rest you can actually collapse them together, and now it will only show the total only, right? If you want to expand, just click on the plus size and everything will expand accordingly. Okay, so that is for group and group subtotal. Very simple. Remember, first step, you must identify which column that you would like to group together. Second, once you identify the column, I want you to sort the chosen column. Number three, highlight all relevant data inclusive the title and then click on subtotal, right? And then finally, once you click on subtotal at the top part, there's at each change in. So you only need to update this part. The other part you don't need to update, all right? So this is group and group subtotal. And the first one that we did is for payment method, okay? Next one is t-shirt size. So for t-shirt size, remember, we have done the first step we have identified, which is t-shirt size. Second, we need to sort A to Z. All right. For the third one, remember, highlight all relevant data, inclusive the title. Go to data tab, all right, outline ribbon, and then click on subtotal. Once you click on subtotal, at each change in, remember you need to update only at the top part, which is the at each change in. Currently, it's showing as homeroom. All right, I want you to change it to t-shirt size and then click on OK. So from here, you can see we have large 5, medium 10, small 8, and then we have extra large. There's 4 students who have yet to make the sorry, we have 4 students which have the XL size, all right? And the grand count we have 27 students in total. So this is for the t-shirt size. And then if you click on the left side here, we have number 1, high level, number 2, more detailed breakdown with the total for each of the size, and then number 3 is the most detailed breakdown that they have, inclusive of what is the homeroom of the student, the first name, last name, and also payment method, right? And don't forget about the expand and also collapse here. You can see from the minus and plus sign as well, right? So this is all about group and group subtotal functions inside Microsoft Excel, okay? So I hope the first one, which is the conditional formatting, and the second function that we've covered, which is group and group subtotal, is clear, right? So let's move on to the final part on how we can summarize our data. All right, I would like to show you something which is called pivot table. All right, so pivot table, we'll be covering the basics here. Let me open the file and share with all of you. Right, sharing my screen here. Okay, so here we have data about Wise Owl Travel Agent. So we have a travel agency called Wise Owl here, and we have data that shows their customers when to which country when they want to travel. All right, so we have column A, country, column B, the resort name, column C is number of days, column D is the travel method. All right, we have plane, train, and also coach. So coach here is actually referred to as bus. And then we also have sales, cost, and also holiday ID. All right, so these are some of the data that are available under Wise Owl Travel Agent. So now what is pivot table? For those who are not familiar with pivot table, I would like to call pivot table as a summary table. So example, if you have a lot of data, all right, and if you want to create a summary table, an automated summary table, pivot table would be perfect for you to summarize your data, okay? So here for this one, the data is not too long, not too much, it's only until row 31, right? But if you have lots of data, hundreds and also thousands of row, that will be very, very helpful if you use pivot table, okay? So pivot table can be found under insert tab. And then if the first one, you can see there's pivot table here. Okay, so let me show you how we can perform pivot table. To perform pivot table, you will need to highlight all relevant data inclusive of the title. All right, so here I would highlight cell A3 until G31. All right, once I've highlighted all relevant data inclusive the title, I will go to insert tab. All right, and then I will click on pivot table. Okay, So once I click on pivot table, you can see there's a box coming out here. So you have two options. Either you want your pivot table to appear in a new worksheet or in existing worksheet. So this is definitely up to you. All right. So if new worksheet, it will appear in a new worksheet. But if existing worksheet, your pivot table will appear in this particular worksheet, the same worksheet as per your raw data. All right. So for simplicity purposes, I will click on existing worksheet because I want my pivot table to be in the same worksheet. And once you click on existing worksheet, don't forget to update the location. All right, you need to let Excel know where do you want your pivot table to be located at, right? So let's say here, I want it to be under cell K8. So just click on cell K8, click on OK, right? So once you click on OK, on the right side here, there will be pivot table fields that appear. And then at the bottom part, you will see there's 4 quadrants here. All right, so we have bottom left filter, bottom right, sorry, top left is filter, top right is column, bottom left is row, and then bottom right is value. Okay, and then here you can see there's the title, country, resort name, number of days, travel method, price, and also holiday ID. So assuming we want to create a simple pivot table, which is expenditure by country. So we want a list of country and how much does it cost, all right, for each of the country, the price or the expenditure. So here what I would do is I will click on country, drag it, and then I drop it under row, okay? And then I will click on price, drag and drop it under values. So here you can see I've created my summary table or my pivot table here that is showing the expenditure by country. Okay, so I can see for Australia, the total that is spent by the customers is actually 1735. For Chile, it's 1259. England 81, France 1625, Germany 358, and so on. And the grand total is 10,868. Okay, so that is the first pivot table that I created that shows expenditure by country, whereby we have a list of country and we have the price for each of the country. Okay, let's try and do the third one, number of days by country. So we want to know for each of the country that is mentioned by Wise Owl Travel Agency here, right? Their customers spend how many days in each of the country. So that is what we want. We want number of days by country. So if you want to create the second pivot table, again, highlight all relevant data, inclusive the title here, from cell A3 until G31. You can go to Insert tab, Pivot Table. Remember, click on Existing Worksheet and don't forget to update the location. So the location I will put under cell K20 below the existing pivot table. Click OK. Again, on the right side, your pivot table fields will come out and then you would have your 4 quadrant. So here, if I want number of days by country, right? So I'll drag on country, I will put it under row. And then for number of days, I will click and drag it under values. So now I have my summary whereby for Australia, people spend a total of 60 days. For Chile, it's 21 days. For England, 4 days. For France, it's 43 days and so on. And the grand total is people spend 303 days for all of the countries. Okay. So that is an example of second pivot table here that shows the number of days by country, right? So with that, that is all that I wanted to cover for today. Just some basic tips and tricks that you can perform inside Excel to summarize your data, which we start off with conditional formatting, all right, followed by second one, we have the group and group subtotal. And finally, we arrive here at pivot table, okay? So that's all from me. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome, if any of you have any question, feel free to pop it in and I would be happy to help you to answer them.
Okay, so guys, if you have any question, you may ask in the comment. So, okay, let's wait for another 1 minute for question. So if you guys have any question, you may ask. All right, okay. If you guys don't have any question, and then it's okay. Okay, so all right, thank you so much, Miss Adila, for the share, for the great sharing. Also, thank you everyone for joining our lunch and learn session today. Okay, so for those who are interested to learn more about Microsoft Excel, we have a perfect public course for you upcoming 18 and 19 January. So if you guys are interested, do email us or you can contact us by email for registration. And then for those who missed today's session, you can watch this lunch and learn session in our Facebook and YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to like and follow our social media platform for more information. So with that, thank you and goodbye. Thank you, Miss Adila.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good new year, and hopefully, I will see you in the on 18 and 19 January, because what I've covered, I would say, is only 5% of the functions that are available in Excel. So we have more to share with you, and more that you can also learn together with the rest of us. All right. Thank you again, and have a nice day.
Thank you.